Donnie Darko? Donnie Darko?
Donnie Darko?
Donnie Darko.
Donnie Darko is such a beautiful film about counting our blessings, favoritism, false idols, and God's destiny for us all. I grew up watching the theatrical cut and fell in love with the film like everyone else, but it seems many love the director's cut more because it explains more of how time travel works in the Darko universe. I didn't need the explanation, nor do I like the text of the books on screen. When it comes to mind-bending movies, less is more. However, I do like certain instances of the director's version, so we have ourselves a my own cut of Donnie Darko. We're going to use the director's cut as the base, then decide whether to keep the new footage or go with the theatrical versions instead. Let's begin. So the opening logos are different in both films, and the theatricals is more dated to the early 2000s, and the director's cut is more dated to modern-ish times. I want to go with the 2000s look because I feel like it's more iconic, puts you back in the early 2000s era. Therefore, to me, it's better. We're going to use the theatrical cuts. The opening song is originally in the theatrical cut as Echo and the Bunnymen, which is The Killing Moon. And then the director's cut is Never Tear Us Apart by Annexus. Now, the Annexus song is not that bad. It's definitely more like 80s than Killing Moon. But The Killing Moon is so much better and more iconic in my opinion. Plus, the fade for the Annexus song is a bit abrupt in the director's cut, and it does not transition that well into the dinner scene. Once again, the theatrical cut wins. Our first deleted scene comes about. Rose blames Elizabeth. Now, honestly, this kind of just needs to be deleted because Rose doesn't need information about Donnie from Elizabeth. She just got it at the dinner table. But this little scene fits in so well as a transition, plus its biggest reason, hyping up being off the pills to be a reason why Donnie is hallucinating. So for the time being, I'm going to keep it, even though it probably should be deleted. Next deleted scene is Rose down the hall / on Donnie regretting. Not really needed in the final cut. Donnie's face after his mom pauses shows his regrets in the theatrical. It's not really needed that we see it again in the director's, but the second go around, Donnie is just so much more deflating as he throws his book and is mad at himself for yelling at his mom. So for now, I'm keeping it. The entire scene features music in the background in the director's cut, which is fine only for this outing. Thereafter is the extended Dukakis speech. It's really nice as a mood piece, but totally unnecessary. The theatrical will stay because Dukakis repeats himself twice in the director's, and the theatrical does that away, and it's just much more better edited. So the theatrical wins. Following that is the deleted shot of Donnie sleeping. We are going to delete this. The shot of the clock and then the text of the date as a cut to is brilliant in the theatrical and more effective than a shot of Donnie motionless in bed, then fading to black. The director's cut also does not feature the clock chime going off, which adds a horror element to the mise-en-scene. Behind this is the "wake up." The director's cut features this cheesy logo with a bunny mask and a close-up of an eyeball, which is completely tacky and unnecessary, and the theatrical is just right. However, the director's cut features an extended exterior house shot before Donnie's light goes on in his room, which is nice. Nonetheless, the director's cut score is darker and eerie more than the lighter, mysterious score of the theatrical, so you can't splice the two without interference of the music, so we'll just keep the theatrical version altogether. Next is a deleted scene of Donnie walking past his dad. This shot is not really necessary, but paradoxically is actually important. The main reason why the static on the TV exists is to show the audience a sign of Donnie hallucinating. Later in the film, there's another deleted shot of a static TV in front of Elizabeth as she's passed out from partying the night before. However, during that scene, Donnie's not hallucinating. So the static TV, to me, is not just to show Donnie about to get into danger, but to show a thematic element of the movie, which is neglect. Neither his dad nor his sister could save him because both of them were inept. That's why I'm going to keep this little shot in. Thereafter is the deleted scene of the extended hotel stay. There's more of the family disconnecting and fighting, and then the dad kind of foreshadows Donnie's destiny but at the same time doesn't. The dad says something in the director's that hangs with the audience, and it's a perfect line delivery of someone watching over Donnie.
Somebody was watching over him.
The theatrical version of the parents in bed features the TV in the background of their hotel room, which helps the mise-en-scene, and the director's cut is missing it, which sucks. And the theatrical has a music cue of Artifact and Living play as it dollies into the spiral just prior of the jet engine, which is awesome and needs to be included, so I'll still have that play and then fade into the extended hotel stay. Following that is the inserted shot of Gretchen choosing. The theatrical cut does not have a jarring cut away and then back like this deleted scene does. It just kind of breathes on Drew Barrymore's delivery and presence. So for me, the theatrical is just far better here. Behind this is the extended Dad and Donnie fight over the radio. This is not really necessary, but plays into the favoritism theme once again by Dad clashing with Donnie slightly, so it'll stay in. The director's cut also features a better sound mix in the car with the actor's audio. There's also a song playing on the radio during the director's, so this will stay. The next thing, however, won't, which is an added sound effect of Grandma Death / the car kind of screaming in the director's cut, which is completely unnecessary to add in a jump scare here. It's more frightening if it's real, aka without the scream. Next is some deleted audio of Frank telling Donnie to pay attention during the VHS tape viewing. It's really not necessary to add this in. This particular scene plays out perfectly, and the theatrical cut with the chubby kid yelling,
"I'm not afraid anymore!"
at the camera is kind of like a comedy bit. With the director's cut, you can hear an audible bass synth starting, signifying Frank is going to appear, and it kind of ruins the mood. Thereafter is a deleted shot of Donnie's sleeping eye, which is not necessary. He's sleeping, he's not awake. Cutting to the dream afterwards just makes no sense because he's still sleeping. So just delete this. So for the water main breakage and sleepwalking, the theatrical cut features a shot of Donnie lying in bed after hitting the water main. We're going to delete this just like how the director's cut has it. It is creepy, but redundant. Following that is a deleted scene of Donnie taking Samantha's poem. Keep this on the cutting room floor. It kind of makes Donnie an a-hole. Even though this is what brothers and sisters do in real life, I just don't think it's necessary. Donnie should only truly spar with his older sister and maybe tease his younger sister like he did in the hotel room. This was close to making the audience not like him by doubling down on him making fun of Samantha. I'll also cut the rest of the students making fun of Charita. It's pretty cruel, and they already make fun of her enough in the film. Behind this is a deleted scene of Samantha saying a cat burglar did it. Very unnecessary, deleting. Next deleted scene is Donnie more nervous during the cops and chalk scene. I feel the theatrical did a fine job of showing he's nervous, and the shots of Karen and the directors are nearly repeated, so the whole thing feels like it goes on too long. Keep the theatrical. Thereafter is the deleted scene of Whatever Fits. This bit gives more context to why Kitty attacks Karen in the meeting, but Karen is kind of an a-hole here with her remark, and it doesn't seem too justified from prior scenes. The theatrical is fine and we will keep it. Following that is the deleted scene, Poetry Day. Donnie's poem isn't too poetic. It also really doesn't add anything at all to the plot, so we're going to delete this. Behind this is the extended Jim's VHS tape round 2. So half of this tape is useless. The mom at the beginning is helpful, but her son then repeats what she already said, and that's why the editor just kind of started the line on the son in the theatrical, and the redhead lady is quite useless. So I'm going to go with the theatrical on this one, even if the director's version sets up Jim's program slightly better. Next is a deleted audio of Frank showing the way. It's far better with the director's cut that Frank's voiceover is missing prior to 20 days remaining. Also, for the rest of the film, we're going to be removing all of the chapter transitions and explanations. If you watch the film, you can piece the puzzle together on how it all works. So these chapters are unnecessary. Next is an alternate scene of the living room spear time travel. Time shouldn't be speeding his dad up in the director's cut. Also, the liquid spear waltz is removed and replaced with Ave Maria as Donnie walks and finds his parents' pistol upstairs. The DC also removes the TV ad for a local Halloween event. The theatrical is far superior. Thereafter is an alternate scene, The 12 Days Remain Legend. Fits far better in the theatrical, seems more like a natural placement and flow for it. Following that is the deleted scene of the parents at dinner, then the two older kids carving pumpkins. I feel both scenes are not needed, the parents especially so. However, the parents bit sets up for the next scene, which is the meeting with Donnie's shrink. I really love sequences of carving pumpkins in a Halloween movie. Plus, it adds to Donnie and Elizabeth's relationship with them bonding and caring for one another by spending time with each other. So I'm keeping both them and the parents. Also, the scene prior, Donnie and Gretchen talking, features music, which I don't like in that scene. In the original version is just fine, so I will keep it theatrical. There's an alternate scene of Donnie stabbing the mirror with, I guess, added sound effects and more eyeball shots. The theatrical is better. It also has better thunderstorm effects, which is more muted in the director's, so we're keeping the theatrical. Behind this is the extended scene of Jim Cunningham's high school seminar, but the director's cut features the time warp again, speeding up of Jim moving fast, and then Donnie tells Gretchen what he sees, so we're going to cut that part, but just keep all of Jim's extended answers. The theatrical does a really good job actually of making it more comedic and setting Jim up to kind of be a failure of his own principles, but the director's cut kind of makes him to live up to the billing that the town is kind of giving him. But the biggest reason to let the scene play out is to experience with Donnie, so Donnie has grounds to kind of call Jim out. It's one of the best things the director's cut has. Next is a deleted scene of visiting Grandma Death's porch. It's a super creepy ad, but once again, unnecessary sound effects and a frank voiceover, we're going to keep it on the cutting room floor. Thereafter is a deleted scene of the banned book. Both this and the classroom scene with the VHS version of the book later in the director's cut isn't fully necessary, and this particular scene will stay deleted, but it brings up a very interesting conversation piece. It keeps the foreshadowing motif and brings up the question of, are we living in a simulation if Karen's classroom keeps predicting what obstacles life will bring Donnie? Following that is an alternate scene of an eyeball with fire during the Evil Dead showing. Keep the theatrical. Another one, alternate, Jim's house on fire / sparkle motion. There are more sound effects added with the flash bulbs and kind of garbled evil voices of Jim's house going up in flames. The theatrical is so much better with the Michael Andrews score, keeping the theatrical. Behind this is the deleted scene of Donnie and Gretchen wake up, then Donnie has a talk with his dad. This scene was a perfect callback to the hotel scene with his dad talking about how Donnie had a guardian angel, showing his dad cares. Donnie and Gretchen waking up together is kind of useless, but it does show bonding, so it stays for now. Next is an alternate scene of the streetlight in fast motion. The theatrical really didn't need this. It's kind of a crazy addition, kind of glad it was cut out of the director's. However, it kind of plays into the next scene, which is an alternate scene of Karen getting fired, so you kind of have to keep the street light because I'm going to not use the director's cut. The principal talks more, kind of being more hateful. There's less of Karen being kind of sympathetic, so the theatrical wins hands down here. So just like I talked earlier, there's the VHS tape discussion in the classroom scene. If you delete the handing out of the book originally, it doesn't make much sense to include this continuation, but it does work if you wish to use it by itself. Donnie is very unlikable here, however it fits in with his current unhinged mental state, and there's some theology commentary here, but nothing spectacular. The biggest reason to keep this is later in the film, Donnie is being attacked by his bullies, and he blurts out what Karen says in this scene of Deus Machina. So for the film to make sense, this scene has to be included, or the line of Donnie saying that during the climax needs to be cut. The way the climax is cut together, however, you can't just delete Donnie saying it because his bully keeps asking, what did he say? He kind of like stalls Donnie from saving Gretchen as the car is coming to run her over, so it needs to stay for plotting reasons. So we are going to keep this bit separate from handing out the books prior. Thereafter is a deleted scene of Rose and Sam leaving. We're going to keep this scene. It's so beautiful that Donnie gives his mom and his sister one last hug goodbye. Following that is an extended scene in the school with Karen packing her things and Donnie gets to visit her. The theatrical cut does a horrible job of showing why Donnie is just sitting with Karen, and the extended version does a better placement of setting it all up. So we're keeping it. Behind this is an alternate scene of Donnie's breakdown. The director's cut adds a jump scare sound effect, so the theatrical is far better and creepier by having nothing as Frank shows up in a jump cut. Next is an extended scene of the shrink's theology lesson. I don't think this scene is necessary. The only relevant information is the doctor telling Donnie his pills are placebo, but not once did I think that the pills were the root cause of the hallucinations. And if Donnie is indeed schizo, then the pills wouldn't cause them anyway. They would try to prevent hallucinations, yeah. Also, the shrink tells Donnie what religious views Donnie has. It's kind of superfluous because she really doesn't know 100% what Donnie believes, just bits and pieces from her sessions. Like, not once did Donnie kind of wing himself into the agnostic area. He's just a young man with questions. It's a tough call to at least include the placebo part, but we're just going to keep the theatrical version the whole way. It also doesn't have a song that overwhelms the whole audio track. Speaking of songs, there's an added 80s pop song on the radio for the scene with Elizabeth telling Donnie about getting into Harvard in the director's cut. It's a nice addition because it does set the mood for the time, but I think for now, I'm keeping the theatrical sans music. Next is the audio subtracted in the party of the director's cuts. The metal song in the theatrical is deleted and makes the party more drab and eerie. I guess kind of a premonition to the climax. But I like the theatrical, I like the song. Like, what party doesn't have music? Also, the theatrical has the trampoline kid in slow motion as an effect, which, isn't the greatest, but it isn't the worst, so it can stay. And the director's cut has an extra shot of him prior, but it isn't needed. So we're going to keep the theatrical. Thereafter is alternate audio of Donnie and Gretchen exiting down the stairs. In the director's cut, Echo and the Bunnymen's Killing Moon is playing, and it kind of feels out of place compared to the theatricals Under the Milky Way by the church. Keep the original by a mile. There's another extended scene, a shot of another eyeball close up, and this actually includes George Bush, which Donnie didn't even see in the film because that was in his dad's scene only. So, of course, delete. Following that is a deleted shot of Grandma Death telling Donnie of a storm coming. How would she know this information? Did she have a hand in constructing this whole thing? I don't like it. Plus, the acting is not good. There's no need for it. Donnie knows the calendar. He knows the time bomb. Behind this is a deleted shot of the forest. It's a transition piece. Not needed. Delete. Next is a deleted scene of the Stag TV. Like I said earlier, Elizabeth is passed out after partying. And just like earlier, I'm keeping this neglect theme externalization. The biggest problem with the director's cut of this scene is the eerie music and TV sound that plays throughout Donnie saying his goodbye to his sister and grabbing car keys. It's far more effective without that audio. No noise is more heartfelt, just sound effects. So we will keep the TV, but also keep the original audio of the theatrical. Thereafter is an extended shot of Donnie driving. It's just an extension of the previous shot spliced in between the cops arriving. It doesn't add tension, so it can be deleted. Once again, another deleted shot of an eyeball close up after the cops arriving, not needed. Following that is an alternate scene of Donnie laughing at the sky. The director's cut features Donnie just sitting on the car, staring at the storm, instead of the theatrical version, which is Frank and Donnie together, stating the end of the world calendar. The director's cut bests the theatrical in this case. The way Donnie says, "I'm going home off camera" in the theatrical is super nice though. Behind this is an alternate scene of the plane ride. In the theatrical, there's a voiceover callback of Donnie and Professor Ken during a shot of the jet's passengers, Gretchen in the car, and as well as a louder sounding storm as the jet engine passes in it. The Professor voiceover isn't necessary. It's kind of babying the audience to get them along with how the plot works. But the Gretchen one sure is a hard pill to swallow because their relationship is kind of beautiful and it really stamps home one of the themes as well as externalizing what Donnie is thinking. It really hits the audience hard, so for emotional impact, I'm going to keep the theatrical voiceovers Gretchen as well as the sound effects of the jet engine from the theatrical. Now continuing this alternate scene of the jet engine going through the portal, the director's cut adds in more of the eyeball and other crazy overlays, kind of making it look like a computer screen. Delete. And of course, an alternate scene of one last page. The book is removed and only the title card of October 2nd is shown, which honestly isn't necessary. And the ending credits will be the theatrical because none of the new special effects are used in this cut, nor is any of the music. And there you have it. Donnie Darko, the original cut, clocks in at 1:53:15. The director's cut clocks in at 2:13:53. 53, weird. And Donnie Darko, my own cut, is 2:03:37. And if the studio, at the time, I guess told Richard Kelly it has to be 2 hours, I gave them 2 hours, studio. I gave you 1 second over. Not bad, Maddie, not bad. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I hope this edit is the best of both worlds for you, as it is for I. Godspeed.